So, the new Powerpuff Girls are here, and it's, well, a lot of people didn't really seem to like it. It's kinda like how people didn't really like Teen Titans Go. The main reason why I brought this up is because Pan Pizza made a top 10 worst reboot countdowns, with the 2016 Powerpuff Girls as one of the entries. However, this caused Nero Q to do a a response video of the 2-minute segment of the Powerpuff Girls that you made. With all that being said, let's take a look.
Oh man. Okay, Rebel Taxi? Or is it Pan Pizza? What the heck? Look, someone needs to say something, and I really didn't want to be the one to do it, but I will. Your dislike for the new Powerpuff Girls show is alright, and I respect your opinion.
Okay. Well, looks like this commentary that I'm making is already...
At least that's what I wish I could say.
Fucking hell, I just wanted to play some goddamn deadcore already.
Sugar, spice, and oh, the reboot doesn't do that anymore.
What? You realize the intro on Cartoon Network is not the full intro, right? It does have that part.
Spice. And everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl.
Allow me to bring in the 25-second version that Cartoon Network usually plays within their overall show. They didn't really bring that into the overall intro, especially for the fact that they usually play the 25-second version of it when the show airs on Cartoon Network. Yes, the 2-minute version does have that part, but even then, does anybody within the US really want to sit through a 2-minute version of the intro when it does air? The goal is to engage the audience and get hooked over something for a small time frame. Having 2 minutes as the intro would be a tad bit long, and some viewers might be turned off by that. Finally, I don't really want to bring in Pan Pizza's part 1 of this review of the new Powerpuff Girls into this and actually focus this video on its own merits, but he did complain about why this is somewhat of a problem. This is somewhat of a problem because the new audience wouldn't know that they were made by Sugar, Spice, Everything Nice, and Chemical X. They would just think, oh yeah, they fight crime while having superpowers in the curfew, but that'll just be it.
Powerpuff Girls 2016 at first feels like the old show, but you eventually realize they managed to screw up everything.
You haven't really watched the new Powerpuff Girls show, have you? And I mean really watched it. Take off those cheap nostalgia glasses and give it a fair chance.
And how about you take those Mon goggles that you have off? I mean, dude, I can see you past that hood, and you seem to have those self-prescription goggles recently, huh? All joking aside, you're only using that argument just so that you can discredit everything that Pan Pizza had to say about the overall show because it's just nostalgia. I mean, it just kinda feels like as if this entire video that you've made is only because of the fact that it's new and not really on its own merit. This argument is also done because at times you don't really know what some of the people grew up with.
Of course it's not going to be like the original, but you know what? The original wasn't that great. It was a good show, and me and my friends loved growing up with it, but it still has its flaws. For one, the animation was good, and it had its own style, but this show's animation is 100 times better. The animation is fluent, and yes, I think it's a great improvement over Craig McCracken's style. And I don't just mean the original animation, I mean Craig McCracken, the creator style in general. I don't like his animation style that much, and if I had to choose between this and this,
wow, guess the party's over. Nice.
yeah, I choose the new style. And don't tell me you wouldn't.
I won. There, I've said it. You can't evade my onion farm now, you pleb! But seriously, I actually didn't really like the overall animation style that they had within the overall show. For starters, it just seems kinda bland. I mean, especially with the overall Flash animation that's going on now to date. The color choices seems a bit generic, and I felt like it had somewhat the same style / movement as shows like Steven Universe, Clarence, and maybe We Bare Bears at times share some similar traits with the Powerpuff Girls reboot. Though, what am I doing? My point here is completely subjective. Though how you view the animation will be brought up later on within the video when I explain the whole subjectivity part on your end. What I can say, however, is that you basically used something from seasons 1 to 2 of the old show to back up your point when season 5 and 6 had, to me personally, much better animation style as it's a lot more fluid and smooth. That's kinda really not a good comparison to make, truth be told, as both of the art styles are a bit different from the later seasons to the earlier seasons.
She'll be there.
The main joke about Powerpuff Girls is that it's cutesy soft girls in a sharp pointy rough world full of threatening villains. But the reboot is cutesy soft girls in a cutesy soft world full of cutesy soft villains. Where's the contrast?
What the heck are you talking about? That wasn't the joke of the show or the idea of the show. You wanna know what that was?
So when you originally created the Powerpuff Girls, what did you have in mind for the show?
I just wanted to do a really cool superhero show, and I just thought drawing 3 little girls as superheroes was way more interesting than a big, strong, muscly guy. Because you've seen that muscly guy a million times and it doesn't mean anything, but these little girls seem new and fresh, and they just seemed a lot tougher because they were so cute.
That clip actually strengthened his point, really. Even if Craig mainly wanted to have the show with cutesy girls as being the main heroes, Craig actually kinda said what Pan Pizza mainly just said, as the concept was mainly about the cutesy girls being the overall heroes. Though there's also this part that you've stated at the very next point.
This new show still retains that, and the roundness of the characters, whether villain or not, adds to the new style of the show. That's not a minus, that's a plus.
But even then, while not outright stated, he either implied for the fact, or one can even argue for the fact that you can add in the cutesy girls as being the superheroes, but also use the other same formulas as having the world being tough and scary, with the villains also being tough and scary, and it could work. That worked here in the old show because you would see the girls struggle through the harsh surroundings of the world. If you compared it to the new show, yeah, they added something new by making everything cutesy, but that doesn't work here because the show made it so cutesy to the point where some of the overall context doesn't make it so drastic and quote-unquote realistic.
Remember all the violence in the old show? Well, they chose to rarely show the impacts anymore.
Pick one of us!
No, they chose to make it similar to the original. Because the creators of the show actually cared, and they wanted fans of the original to appreciate their attention to detail. They rarely even showed the context of the fists in the original show. And not to mention, did you just miss this scene?
Hey there, what you guys so upset about?
Yeah, no, both of the shows are not similar towards the overall action scenes. Your example of the newer show have an impact towards the violence is a lot more tamer than the ones from the older show. I mean, even your example of the older show had blood on it. Fucking blood. Hence what Pan Pizza was trying to say within his point.
We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. All right.
The show now has less crime fighting and instead has morals and bonding, character driving. Yeah.
Are you really complaining about that? Okay, where do I even begin? Oh, man. How can you complain about a show that teaches kids moral lessons and makes you feel good at the end of the episode? Short answer, you can't. Because making these characters human and giving them personalities beyond the original is a much needed improvement.
That is until if a show gets way too preachy with its morals to the point where it becomes annoying because of how terrible a story it could be. I mean, one example that I would have to bring up would have to be Horn Sweet Horn. In that episode, I'm not going to be touching about the whole transgender part, as honestly that really wasn't the concept of that show. But one of the morals that was within the episode, however, was don't rush into decisions. To explain more about this, I'll be bringing Doodletones' review of the episode as she explains this better, and you guys should check the review out, the link is in the description.
Using a horse that believed it was a unicorn being a metaphor for transgenderism is one thing, but using a unicorn who thought it was a horse who believed he at heart was a unicorn is something entirely different. Especially if you're going to make your moral don't rush into things, which is a pretty big issue when you think about it. You kind of failed at your own moral trying to push an agenda and explore something like gender dysphoria. It kind of feels like you were doing it for the sake of doing it.
There are plenty of other episodes that could actually be the case, but often than not, that's actually one of the overall problems within the show.
Oh god, morals! What are you trying to teach?
It's amazing that the creators of the show even chose this route, especially with all the dumb pandering shows Cartoon Network has on now. Like Uncle Grandpa, Teen Titans Go, heck, even Gumball now just panders to kids.
I would like to contest you with the point about the amazing role of Gumball, possibly towards some of the other shows that you've mentioned, but mainly towards Gumball overall. Heaven forbid the show tried to appeal to a demographic other than your own. I mean, sure, there would be adults who would watch the show, but when it panders to children, then we need to stop and call the presses. Also, I would like to read a comment that you've made when someone actually did complain about Gumball being mentioned, since I have a feeling that if you're going to do a reply video to me, you'll bring this point up. The new episodes of Gumball are pandering. Nearly all of the new ones ends in the middle of a sudden situation, most likely to try and keep children's attention and literally end when an action is going on, but not in a good way. Sorry dude, but that's not pandering. According to WiseGeek, and I quote, pandering is the practice of adapting public statements and actions to fit the culture within a given group of persons. Essentially, pandering is intended to placate the individuals who make up the group and allow the speaker to make a connection with the group as a whole. If anything, your problem with the amazing role of Gumball isn't really because of it pandering, since they end in the middle of a sudden situation. I think your main issue with it is because of how it could be anticlimactic, though it really depends given on how it's performed, but I digress.
Not to mention, so you complain about Teen Titans Go when it's just a bunch of pointless filler nonsense trying to keep children's attention. But you also complain when a show actually has a point and a good lesson to teach? Are you ever satisfied?
You've misinterpreted the point again. He was saying that the show is way too preachy. He was not saying that he hated the morals overall. Please stop misinterpreting the point. You have given me cancer, AIDS, Ebola, and the secret virus all at once, you monster! Sorry. Though, can I ask you a question about the overall point about Teen Titans Go? Since when did he ever say that he complained about it being pointless filler nonsense trying to keep children's attention? I've asked this because based on his review of the show as well as the number 8 entry of the same countdown this is on, he never really complained about that aspect. Hell, he likes the show, but the only thing is that he doesn't even want it to be successful. Hell, he even find the humor of that show to be good. If you can provide me some proof as to where he stated that, then I can possibly retract this claim, but again, kinda confused here.
But it also has jokes you've already heard in other cartoons.
It's true. I was being
a horrible Buttzilla. Now say I'm a Buttzilla.
Your argument that it reuses others' jokes is that they use the word Buttzilla? You know that wasn't a joke for the audience to even laugh at, right? It was just for the characters, God.
First of all, why exactly is a joke in there if the writers know that you weren't meant to laugh at it? It just kinda seems lazy writing if you're not trying to entertain your audience. Secondly, the joke was supposed to be how Bubbles would try to fool someone to say Buttzilla because they were trying to hug it out. You did stated that the joke was supposed to be for the characters, but it really wasn't relevant to the episode's plot. So the only purpose it serves within the episode is a joke.
It's not like when something funny does happen in a cartoon, every character stops and laughs at that joke with the audience. No! They totally ignore a joke that we're supposed to laugh at, and it's the same the other way around. We're not supposed to laugh at a joke that the characters find funny. I mean, it's not like you laughed at Blossom in that episode where her hair was shaved. If you did, you're a horrible person.
Okay, to be fair, that was actually a little bit funny. Well, looks like I'm going to hell, aren't I? A joke can be used for both the characters and the audience. One thing that you failed to point out is the infectious nature of laughter. Having characters audibly laugh in the episode with no setup to establish that you shouldn't also be laughing encourages laughter.
I think we got some tough times ahead of us.
tough times.
James spoken!
Aww, you're starting to learn about titles. Aren't you? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Okay, but seriously, just because it had titles come up over the footage doesn't mean anything.
Okay, editing nitpick here, but Jesus Christ, was that explosion very sloppily edited. I mean, it just feels like as if you made the contrast to the green screen very high to the point where the explosion looked like some of it was taken out. And then we have some shitty see-through explosion. Besides, that's not an explosion. This is an explosion! And that's how you're supposed to do an explosion properly. I should become the Michael Bay of commentaries. Except my content is considered to be good by many. I was mainly just talking about the explosions.
Also, you've misinterpreted the point again. Sure, he didn't outright say it, but I think it would be pretty clear about how it's not the title that made it a ripoff. It was mainly how the title was executed. Both of them have the over-exaggerated narrator voices with the same timing and feeling of each other. Pan Pizza didn't really say it was a ripoff because it uses titles. He said it was a ripoff because they both have the exact same context.
And wasn't your argument that this was a joke stolen from another show? 1, it's not a joke. 2, it's done well, not too annoying, and it does help the episode. So why would that even matter?
So, your first argument. I personally disagree with you on that front because of how it was meant to engage the audience at random humor. Then your next argument is that it helps the episode. How exactly? You don't really explain on that front about how it's supposed to help the episode out at all. There, TVB, I finally used Steve from American Dad. Are you fucking happy now, you extremely nice person?
Excitement, excitement, excitement.
Skate, skate. Buttercup, buttercup.
Running out of examples there, weren't you? So, a word echoes. That's your comparison from Pickle and Peanut to the new Powerpuff Girls? In that case, I'm surprised you didn't include...
Ricky Spell. No.
Or was that just too much work for you?
Hold up, my nostalgia senses are tingling. Oh, wait a minute, why am I using this avatar? Be gone, I say! Your only point here is to become a neglected avatar that I'll never use! Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, that last clip that you've just used. I think that I remember that clip that you used from somewhere. I just can't really seem to put my finger on it. Oh my god, please don't tell me! That wasn't supposed to be a joke, you And even then, the main reason why the other two wouldn't work as examples was because you didn't really understand what the joke was supposed to be about. The joke was about repeating something a couple of times in a whisper in order to make it more of an echoey feel to it. This is to make things more, quote-unquote, edgy.
There's episodes that are remakes of the original Powerpuff, like you can't help but compare and see how generic it is. Remember the one where Buttercup joins a gang? Well, the cool thing about the Green Gang in the original, as opposed to the new Roller Derby Gang, is they didn't copy and paste the same character over.
You mean like Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup are pretty much copy and paste characters?
You know, I would just point to you the comment section of your videos. They actually seem to get the point across, but I might as well repeat their point for my viewers' sake. The main reason why Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup aren't clones physically is because of the different shapes that they have within their overall head. Blossom has the long hair going down her back while she's wearing a bow on her head. Bubbles has ponytails, and Buttercup has I don't know, something that looks spiky, fangs, maybe? So if you make a silhouette towards the girls, then you can obviously tell them apart. And of course, the same thing can be said towards the new show with those main characters. Even then, thinking about this logically, they are technically triplets, so of course they would at least look somewhat similar to each other. However, when it comes towards the roller derby game, the silhouettes of their bodies are identical, meaning you cannot tell who's who besides maybe the leader. Some might say that's lazy writing / animating right there. Oh, and before you argue for the fact that they were also sisters, that wasn't really established within the overall episodes when they did show up.
Your argument is that this is a ripoff of the Gangrene episode from the original? And yet this episode features Princess, a giant bug monster, and roller derby. But no, it's a ripoff because Buttercup isn't hanging out with the girls. That's really where your comparison would end. The roller girls aren't even bad guys. They didn't even threaten Buttercup or even pick a fight with her. Heck, in the end, they helped free Blossom and Bubbles from a trap set by Princess. They're good guys.
You see, the Derbitons, we protect our sisters, and that includes sisters of sisters.
Why are you so set on assuming they're just copy and paste villains when you're obviously not even paying attention?
The villain can be different and still be used for the same plot. The plot is that Buttercup hangs out with the gang instead of the girls, which is very similar to the original episode's plot, but told with different characters. And the roller derby girls do stand in Buttercup's way when she tries to go help, thus putting them in the same role.
Remember 2 weeks ago when I made that Mojo meme generator?
The entire art style, as well as the show itself, ranges from meh to insulting.
No, it's not. The art is creative and vibrant. It's soft and wonderful. This world feels large, especially to the Powerpuff Girls. You can pick apart the design as much as you want, but not all of us agree with you. It takes the original style, updates and improves it while adding a little something of its own. Look at Townsville! It actually feels like a city! It feels like hundreds of people live here, as opposed to that misshapen building blocks of the original.
You actually want to know what I've noticed not only in this point, but also within the other time where he mentioned the art style / animation? It just feels like as if he came off as rather something that's kind of objective. Especially with how you said things like,
and don't tell me you wouldn't.
As not everyone is going to have the same opinions of the overall art and animation style. This is also prevalent with how you treat Pan's point as something objective when it's not. Honestly, that's not how critiquing works. You don't force your said opinions down towards someone's throat to the point where you face life in prison for choking the guy. Yes, you're supposed to articulate your point in an intelligent manner and show why you think the way you do in a way that makes sense to the general public, but opinions do play a heavy role within reviewing / critiquing the said piece. And the fact that you're dismissing Pants' opinion within this video like this, calling him an nostalgia tard, and something else later on within the video is kinda saddening. And a bit funny, actually. Hold up, let me grab them Keemstar popcorn. This might actually be entertaining as shit right here.
It's not bad because it's different. It's bad because it tries to recreate the old show and does average, while anything new it does falls flat. Like Shaolin Chronicles, everything done here could have been done better in the old show. Everything done here could have been done better in the old show. Could have been done better in the old show. Could have been done better in the old show. Could have been done better in the old show.
Always deserved this.
This is going to be good.
Can I take her out now? Let's do this. Hey, meatheads! Rhino kebab! Time to heat things up. Flamethrower! This is totally gonna suck. For you. That was awesome! Yay!
Yeah, I believe those examples both countered and annihilated your claim, Mr. Chaxi.
Way to fucking drag out your fucking point with not only repeating Pan Pizza's clip multiple times, but also providing like 3 examples, one of which was about like 30 seconds, mind you, when you could have just explained in a sentence or two to explain your point. If this was about the overall animation to the new show being, well, new, and the old show being outdated, then way to drag out the video even more by repeating the point when you could have just skipped it. Is this the main reason why you only made this into a 17-minute-ish critique on something that was only 2 minutes worth? Bruh, don't do that shit again. Say it once, maybe twice if you need to, and then never repeat that shit again.
We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. All right.
It's a reboot that can't stand separate.
You know what? Maybe I agree. It doesn't stand separate. It flies off and excels where the original couldn't.
Please don't tell me that you actually believe in that shit, huh? But please? Alright, fine. Looks like I'm just gonna slowly die in a corner now, especially with the overall fact that your statement doesn't really have any sort of substance whatsoever. Did I just use my actual face as an avatar? No. I am not going to be using my actual face nor my actual body for any of my future content, so I have no idea as to why I'm even... Really? Huh.
It has nothing unique to offer besides shoving in smartphones, twerking, and lingo that'll be outdated in a few years.
I guess you weren't paying attention when they were totally dismissing these ideas.
Can't what? Can't even what? Oh, like she literally can't even. Whatever.
You see, Buttercup didn't care about the phrase Blossom said, so the audience doesn't even have to.
Yeah. Well, my name is Blossom and I'm here to say no rapping.
See, even Bubbles didn't want to hear that rap, because even the writers knew it wasn't going to be very good.
Then explain to me as to why people are critiquing the show mainly for having those moments where they did place in some of the internet memes / pop culture references within the overall show.
Like the No Me Gusta face, or the twerking incident that killed millions.
Just because that they're not wanting to keep some of the parts in doesn't mean that they decided to try some of the other stuff out too.
OMG! Yes! You do it! No me gusta!
I agree. The show would have been better if they didn't include those references. It might make it seem a bit dated in the future.
Oh, so you meant for the fact that there's a few things that they could have cut it out. Oh, and silly me, here I thought I was actually doing my job right, but instead I have you stealing it. You took my jib!
They took your job! We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. We know your home skips, pick up the phone skips. All right!
Shut up and stay away from this show, because you don't have to watch it by every little meaning of that phrase.
Oh my god, you actually did that. You actually used the don't like the show, don't watch a card, did you? Holy crap. This really discredits you as a critic. No, cut me off. I need air. Oh, sorry. That would have happened if I didn't cut myself off like that. There are so many problems within this argument, one of which is the fact that he's a critic and that it's his job, but you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna leave Pie Guy Rules' video about the whole don't watch argument being idiotic in the description. However, I want to bring in one point that Pie Guy made within that video, because I think out of any of these, this one pretty much fits you the most.
I don't like this argument because you're effectively telling people to shut up. That is what it is. You are just saying, well, you don't like it, so stop having an opinion. As if only people who are fans are allowed to have their opinion heard. As if you have to be positive, and if you're negative, that's a bad thing.
Hell, the main reason why I've came up with that conclusion is because besides that one point about adding in culture references in the show, you're not really giving Pan Pizza a chance. Especially when not only does he wanted to make a video later about the issue, but the fact that you've constantly cut it into his overall arguments and makes this reply video longer than it needed to be.
It doesn't hurt anyone, and as far as I know, it's actually good for kids. So even if you were to argue that the reason you would watch it and bash it is because this is what Cartoon Network is showing kids these days, then that is totally invalid!
You do realize for the fact that he doesn't really review a show because it would quote-unquote ruin kids these days and actually review it on their own, right? Anyways, he basically explains why kids won't be ruined by the show, except for the fact that he doesn't like regular show. You freaking monster, I will suck your fucking soul out, you bitch! And then, this part.
Fatality.
Two issues here. One, Why all of a sudden did you make this one a CinemaSins style of outro by using the sins counter? Well, I'm not saying for the fact that you're ripping them off, but the fact that your video wasn't really in the style throughout your own video makes this whole sin counter kinda unneeded, truth be told. Finally, you're holding the scythe the wrong way, especially when you killed someone. This is how you're supposed to hold it.
Jesus fucking Christ, my eyes! Okay, so let me explain what's wrong now that I can see again. Pink text on pink hat is, well, not exactly easy to read. Admittedly, there's a number of points where, it's fine enough to read, even if it is a strain on the eyes. Keep in mind that this might be more of a problem for me than it is for you, since I've had vision problems since birth. But just because it doesn't hurt your eyes in particular, doesn't mean that it's not a terrible color scheme. My advice, if you're forced to use Windows Movie Maker and thus can't put an outline on your text, which would make it look pretty good regardless, perhaps a darker color would work better, since, at least on this image, there's very little in the form of dark colors on the screen, thus giving very little space for the text to clash with the background. Finally, text commentary, which means I'm gonna have Bricklaser read your points.
You fucking homosexual.
Excuse me, you're not allowed to call me a homosexual, you're a fictional character.
I was talking about Testaburger.
Oh.
Hello everyone, Wendy Testaburger here for all your student council needs. Now then, what's today's topic? Excuse me? What the fuck do you mean a boys club? Oh god, this is gonna be one of those videos.
First, did you really need to play all 17 seconds of that to make your point? I mean, you could have easily just shown the title for a couple seconds to, keep good pacing in your video. Also, get used to the cliches. I think I need one of those bingo cards from Ryan, actually, for this one.
Welcome. Welcome to the 2015 Speaker Series. This is our last speaker for this semester. So,
I'm not even that far into the video and already know I'm going to regret this.
The fuck did I just say? I mean, I'd be willing to forgive the not far into the video thing, which is basically just a few seconds in cliche with different words in this instance. But if there was an actual point to why you already hated, other than the title has Boys Club in it, for that matter, this is an academic speech. With that wording, this could be against the mentality that there's a boys club.
welcome to the 2015 Speaker Series. This is our last speaker for this semester. So, please turn down any noise-making devices. But we invite you to tweet. The hashtag is LCSpeaker. Please tweet during the event.
Yes, please tweet during the event, because you know what they're about to say is so retarded that you don't mind if your listeners aren't paying attention.
Or they could want people who aren't currently present to know what's going on. Which is why they have a hashtag. And, they're also recording it so that people can watch it later if they miss anything.
Jennifer Alloway has studied the prevalence of sexist practices in the game industry and how that impacts game content.
Citation needed. You provide zero evidence that fictional universes such as video games can truly have any kind of impact on society outside of entertaining people. People like you are no different from Jack Thompson, who tried to spread the false claim of violent video games leading to violent people. Ugh. The speaker hasn't even started yet and I'm already pissed.
Congratulations! You have finally attempted to address a point. Well, except for the fact that no one said literally anything about video games affecting society. Quite the opposite, actually. It was stated that the subject of the speaker's research is on the society of game development affecting the content, not the other way around.
An avid gamer, and an advocate for social justice and social researcher of the industry.
Depends on how you define research. If you mean spreading debunked myths and making unsubstantiated claims without proof, then sure, research.
To use your own point against you for a minute, citation needed. I'm not familiar with Jennifer Alloway, and to be quite honest, there actually is an intelligent argument for the mistreatment of women in the game industry. Anita Sarkeesian is one of those people who does not make that intelligent argument, but you have yet to provide anything that shows why we should feel the same about Jennifer Alloway.
The industry. She has recently written some articles in Jezebel, which I read, which were awesome. Also, I'd like to announce that...
There's your mistake, taking Jezebel seriously.
Never mind the fact that she said that this person's articles were awesome and not the site itself. For that matter, I'm not familiar with Jezebel, like, at all. I didn't know it existed before you brought it up. Why shouldn't I take it seriously? Since I don't know what it is. If it's based on articles by certain writers, then that's not a reason to take an entire website as invalid.
We are sponsored by GPI Construction, Green Mountain, Tent Rentals, and the Richards Group.
I don't know who any of those are, nor do I actually care.
I don't care either. Oh, except for the fact that you're judging someone for stating up front who is sponsoring the event. It's not like she goes into plugging these businesses either. She just states that they're sponsors. That's the equivalent of getting onto someone for putting Patreon donors at the end of the credits of their video, or, more accurately, considering this is an academic work, PBS listing specific businesses that donated larger amounts of money at the beginning of the show. Of course they're going to do it, because they're showing appreciation for being given the means to accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Hi everyone!
If anyone watching this actually goes to this college, I'm so sorry you had to deal with this shrill-voiced harpy. Who am I kidding? No one's gonna watch this. I have no subscribers.
Well, I found your channel just fine, now didn't I? That being said, more insults! Hooray! Oh, by the way, I did not find her voice shrill. This could be tolerance on my part for higher pitched sounds, but the point is, if that's your only point, then you need a new point.
Oh, you did that. Thank you. And just a quick mention, thank you to Landmark for hosting me. I'm incredibly honored to be here. I've spent a wonderful day on campus, and I've been so inspired by all the wonderful men and women on this campus that are doing what they love here, and it's so great.
Then why are you here to ruin their day?
I would have skipped this since, you know, it's just another random insult, but good God, this is getting way too harsh for her literally having just stepped on the stage. And you haven't really told us why we're supposed to hate her already.
As someone with minor OCD and ADHD that I only found out about 3 months ago, this would have been great to know about. And I'm really glad to see programs like this that exist for people with LDs. So a little bit about me.
Yes, because we really need to know about you.
It's not like she's trying to give context as to what makes her an expert on the topic she's about to discuss, or introduce herself to people who don't know her work. Speaking of which, when are we going to get her actual arguments? Since the commentator doesn't have anything else to say about what Miss Alloway is actually saying, I'll just get to my final point.
Just that name alone is enough to make me cringe. Gaming is not a boys' club. Girls gamers are very much welcome. What's not welcome is cunts like you who barge in and try to change something gamers love and tell them that it's wrong. That's what gamers don't like.
That serves as a pretty good segue to my final thoughts. See, here's the problem with that statement. The speaker's research, for one, has very little to do with gamers. It has to do with game developers. I didn't even do any research to figure that out either. I just listened to what the person introducing herself said, instead of, I don't know, insulting her for no reason. And here's the thing, the majority of your points in this video were insults and nothing more. But then let's take a look at her trying to barge in and change things. This is being done in an academic setting, and for some reason, people tend to have this problem with a lot of videos. More often than not, the goal is not necessarily to instantly change things, but to think about the subject at hand from a point of view other than the one that you are most familiar with. And here's the kicker. At this point, it's like 24 days after the video came out, and there's still no part 2 to this part 1. That means that as far as I can tell, part 2 was not already in development when this video was made or when it came out. So my advice is simple. Finish the commentary before you upload it!
Hero develops new tech called nanobots that can form into whatever shape the controller wants them to form. When he's presenting them, a fire breaks out and an explosion happens. And since this is a Disney movie, somebody has to die. And since there are no parents to kill off, Tadashi dies in the explosion.
This is a major problem with this video and something I find obnoxious whenever I see this happen in a video involving movies or TV. The clip you show doesn't match with what you're saying. In that scene, it was Hiro and Tadashi having a bonding moment now that Hiro's in the same school as Tadashi. If he was limited to what he could find on YouTube, then on paper, you might find it excusable to some extent. Only problem is, you don't have to go very far to find the footage you're looking for. So I have to ask, why didn't you use footage that would match with what you are saying?
Quick, make me forget that shit!
Right, never happened! So, Hiro teams up with Stoner, Black Guy, Tough Girl, and Bubbly Girl to stop the villain, and he proceeds to try to kill him. After almost getting killed, they form a superhero group to track down Professor Callahan. Oh, I'm sorry, Kabuki Mask, ooh. So after giving Baymax some upgrades, they track the nanobots to an island where they find an abandoned lab. There, they find out Callahan's daughter was sent into another dimension after a failed experiment.
I get this is a spoiler-heavy video, but if you're going to spoil the plot, at least not only get the details right, but also get the order of events right. They didn't find out about the transport because of a microbot. The microbot was how Hiro found out someone was mass-producing his microbots earlier in the film. They found the quarantine lab because Baymax scanned him during the scene where Kabuki Mask, or Yaokai, was trying to kill Baymax, Hiro, and his friends, which after Hiro beefed up his sensor, he was able to scan everyone in San Francisco. As for the bit with Callahan's daughter, once again, at that point in the story, we didn't know it was his daughter. All they gave you was a woman was sent to another dimension, the portal malfunctioned, and trapped her in there. I know this could be seen as a nitpick, especially since I'm not arguing whether you thought the twist involving Callahan was obvious or not, but at the same time, when you're talking about a movie and spoiling the plot, I expect to see you get major details like that right, because it will give me the impression that you actually paid attention to what happens in the story.
Quick, make me forget that shit!
Right, never happened! So, we lead to the final action scene in which Callahan is about to kill Cray, but the team is there to stop him.
Once again, the same problem occurs. What you're showing was from the first fight in the quarantine lab, not the final fight. Plus, with the way the footage repeats itself, I do have to ask if you're using a trailer. If so, I could understand if you're discussing this movie while it was still in theaters, but the fact of the matter is, this was made well over a year after this movie's release, so it's on DVD, and again, even if we're arguing he's limited to what he can find on YouTube, there are clips of the final fight as long as you search for 5 seconds. Now, I bring this point up again because I wanted to see if this was just an isolated incident, so I checked out his Mr. Peabody and Sherman video, which came out after his Big Hero 6 video, and the same problem happened there. He'll show footage that does not match with whatever he's talking about. Dude, the next time you try to talk about something, actually show the audience what you're talking about. That way, even if they don't agree with you, they can at least see where you're coming from.
During the fight, a portal is created and Hiro and Baymax fly into it to save Callahan's daughter. However, Baymax is running out of battery life and he has to sacrifice himself to save Hiro. Aww. But Hiro makes a new Baymax. Cop out!
First of all, that wasn't what led to Baymax sacrificing himself. What actually happened was he got smacked by a large chunk of debris, and not only was his suit heavily damaged, but also his rockets weren't functioning because of the hit. That was why he used the rocket fist to get Hiro and Callahan's daughter out of the dimension, because there was no way for all 3 of them to get out without one of them staying behind. Second, well, yes, you can view Hiro rebuilding Baymax as a cop-out. The only reason why he was able to do that was because Baymax also set the medical chip that Tadashi programmed into Baymax. So really, all Hero had to do was just make a new robot body. He didn't have to redo everything from scratch.
Quick, make me forget that shit!
Right, never happened.
I'm all for Disney doing something different, but I want them to actually do something different.
Okay, why did the audio all of a sudden dip to be quieter? Surely you know that if you have something like Audacity, you can amplify the audio because it comes off as rather jarring to listen to audio that is perfectly hearable, and then all of a sudden it's quieter.
Quick, make me forget that shit!
Right, never happened.
In terms of the characters, they're probably some of the most bland Disney has ever showcased. Hero, our main character, doesn't go through any changes. At the start of the movie, I'm smart. At the middle of the movie, I miss my brother. At the end of the movie, I still miss my brother. And that's it! That's all he has going for him. Granted, he does try to kill Callahan, and then a scene later he learns not to do that. That's not character development, that's a mood swing. He showed no signs of being a killer before, so why did he get the Sun Urge to kill Callahan when he wasn't directly responsible for Tadashi's death? All he did was save himself from the fire using the nanobots.
Boy, do I have a lot to say with what he just said. The whole arc with Hero was that even if a loved one is dead, that doesn't mean they are completely gone, because you still have memories of him, which they demonstrate that when Baymax shows Tadashi's numerous attempts to get Baymax to work. A main theme of this movie was how to cope with the loss of a loved one, and how not only will they never be forgotten, but also we shouldn't let the loss consume us, especially when it comes to revenge. That's actually a meaningful message for young kids who might actually have lost a sibling. In addition, the reason why Hero wanted Callahan dead in that scene wasn't just because he saved himself from the fire, or that Hero was simply angry, but because Callahan let Tadashi die in the fire, as well as basically telling Hero Tadashi died for nothing and was his mistake when he ran into the building to try and save Callahan. From that point on, Hero was consumed by a combination of anger and revenge. Even Baymax was going to say this isn't what Tadashi would have wanted, which was the point. Revenge is not something the person you are avenging would want, which they further show that when Hero is trying to remove Baymax's medical chip for a second time so they could go after Callahan.
Quick, make me forget that shit!
Right, never happened.
Oh well, sometimes even the top dogs have their off day. It's not like this film went on to win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. I mean, come on, people love this movie, but I'm sure they would admit that it wasn't that good. Big Hero 6! Don Hall, Chris Williams, and Roy Conley! Huh, I'll be dag-nabbed. It did. Well, 2014 must have been a bad year for animation if the Academy thought that was the best. What did it beat out?
The Buckstrolls, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Song of the Sea, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya.
Are you kidding me? Alright. While I don't agree with them, I'm sure the Academy had a great reason for choosing Big Hero 6 over those masterpieces. I only watch the ones that my kids want to see, so I didn't see the Box Trolls, but I saw Big Hero 6, and I saw How to Train Your Dragon 2. We both connected to Big Hero 6. I just found it to be more satisfying.
Okay, I'm assuming this is a joke, which if it is, then it fails. Largely because I feel it goes on for way too long. I can understand doing no more than 3 of that reading, however, the entirety of that goes on for about 2.5 minutes. Guess what? That is another problem that is not just an isolated incident, as the exact same problem occurred in his video on Mr. Peabody and Sherman, where the opening skit went on for so long it got old really fast. I get humor is subjective and all, and I don't mind someone making a skit in any kind of video they want to make, but at the same time, you really need to pace out your jokes and or skits better and not let it drag.
I feel like you guys, my real subscribers, deserve an explanation as to what's going on my YouTube page. Why is everything happening like this? You know, why am I uploading this content? What's fucking, you know, why are you going at Filthy Frank? And
wait, what content? What videos? What to sing of Filthy Frank? It'd be really nice if you gave us, you know, something to work with in terms of context for someone who happens to stumble upon this video while looking for idiots on the internet who can't seem to make a coherent point. Fine, guess we'll have to do it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to...
This is Double for Anime. Essentially, he mainly talks about anime. Lately, he's been reacting to videos that other people made, including an honest trailer of Naruto, and then he's been getting kinda defensive about it. What I think made him snap was him making a video a few days before the video that we're commentating on about how Filthy Frank is the worst scum of the internet. It basically got an attention from people such as Scares, Pyrocynical, and MDXLR. On his next video, he made a troll video in which case he exposed to Obama, the something along lines like that. Anywho, he made an update video on why he made the original video to begin with, and that's essentially what we're covering today.
In addition, I saw the video where you later compared the likes and dislikes to a lightsaber. Not only did you come off as genuinely pissed, but also you never once even attempt to explain how Filthy Frank, a guy who makes sketch videos, is just as bad as someone like Keemstar, who has been known to threaten people with doxing.
You salty nut bitches, you took all my explanation! I had a joke about the Rock Lee spinoff in there!
Here's the thing, like, Filthy Frank deserves to fucking just be eradicated. Like, I've said that, and I'm genuine about that shit. Like, I really fucking hate Filthy Frank, and I made that video, and that's completely real. Like, I don't care what people say, I think he needs to go. And I was reaching out to the YouTube community and asking you guys if we could all gather up together and just destroy him. And let's be honest, like, I wasn't able to do anything. I mean, look at my fucking rating bar. It's literally a lightsaber. Like,
lightsaber? With that long of a handle? Well, guess there was an issue in manufacturing then.
Maybe the Force is incredibly strong in this fella. Who knows?
One thing worth noting about you saying that Filthy Frank deserves to be taken off of YouTube, considering your reasoning for wanting him gone, is that he makes fun of anime fans. If I were to go solely based on what you say in this video, and if I add what you say in the other video, his sense of humor is dark. It will bite you in the ass later.
that is the product of me attacking Filthy Frank. I just got fucking destroyed. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Some of them are writing really fucked up shit, like, you know, Columbine shooter, you know, this guy is gonna shoot up your school, you shouldn't go to school. Like, first of all, we in the summer, bitch.
I don't think that's what their point was about when it comes towards the overall comments. Sure, it's the summertime right now as of writing the script, but they were saying that you were going to shoot up a school when school comes around.
Also, if this was a joke, remember that thing I literally just said about Filthy Frank using dark humor? This isn't even
my final form!
Well, no shit. But also, this isn't the last time he contradicts himself in this manner. Maybe let me finish.
Of all time!
Second of all, I was having a very bad day when I recorded that video, so even though, like, I fucking hate Filthy Frank, it was definitely, you know, exploited by the fact that I had a bad day, or it was exponentiated, that's a better word, by the fact that I had a bad day, and that's why the video turned out the way it did, and it just came off like I'm fucking psycho when I'm not psycho. I'm not into that psycho shit.
Right, because having a bad day is a perfectly good excuse. So is not scripting your video for using a word that literally doesn't mean the thing you're trying to convey at all. Why did you even bother uploading the video if you knew it was overly angry and painted you in a light that you did not want to be painted in? Oh, by the way, I don't give a shit if this is better edited than the vast majority of unscripted videos that I've seen. At least I know the meaning of the word exploit, for God's sake.
In addition to what Boone said, I have seen numerous reaction videos where it's something anime related, and even when it's meant to be a complete joke, like when people take anime too far, if they did something bad, like say the Primary Lotus, when it was meant to be bad on purpose, you throw a fit over it because they didn't do it justice. Also, need we forget you throwing a temper tantrum over the 1 minute melee where the Naruto characters lose? Because it's not like they openly state they do not do research for those videos.
Silly Michael, everyone knows Double for Anime is a nerdtard.
The Rock Lee spin-off!
And normally I wouldn't need to explain myself, but when it comes to my real subscribers, and not all these fucking fake subscribers, because there's a lot of people writing like unsubscribe, and then I check my email, half these people aren't even subscribed, right? They're just writing that shit to start a trend of just hate, you know, jump on the fucking hate bandwagon, like, oh, gather up to destroy Double 4. Like, listen, I do not need to be destroyed.
私は運指する必要があります。
Also, you do realize that if someone's subscription is set to private, which is something you can do, by the way, you will not get an email informing you they subscribe. That being said, considering your sub count, are you seriously saying you keep every single fucking email that alerts you to a subscription for the sole purpose of being able to prove who's sub to you and who's not? Even if you've got alerts for people with privated subscriptions, that's some creepy as fuck shit. In addition, those people may actually be saying that this video, which again they may have stumbled across and not actively sought out because of you, is an indication that others should unsubscribe to you. So yes, they are spreading hate. Mainly because they think you deserve it.
I've only provided amazing material for this community, amazing anime reviews, put hours of work into this shit for you guys.
Well now, someone's certainly compensating for something.
Is it penis related?
Maybe.
After watching Naruto, for so long. This has become a staple in my life, and anybody who comes at this series that I hold so dear, will be attacked by me. I will try and destroy them 100%. And it didn't work with Filthy Frank, but I genuinely feel like you guys should listen to me when I say Filthy Frank deserves to go.
Look, I understand for the fact that you left the show so dearly, but can you stop being a nartard and stop blindly defending the show? Look, not everyone is going to like something that you love, but that doesn't mean that you should attack those who doesn't like the show, even the ones who do go, gosh, Naruto sucks. It's basically what the anime community is all about.
And again, based on the fact that you're going after Filthy Frank, who has only made jokes at the show's expense, really just sounds like even parody is considered an attack to you.
Broccoli spinoff. Regardless of what, this is not about Filthy Frank. Fuck all this fake subscribers. This is about my real subscribers, and you guys deserve an explanation because some of you guys actually believed the video I uploaded yesterday was serious.
Wait, so everything you just said has literally zero bearing on the actual subject matter of this video, which is a different, unrelated video to the Filthy Frank one. Daddy, what's this meaningless void of pseudo-existence that we call life?
Well, son, do you know what a dictionary is?
Can it define the contents of the soul?
Maybe.
And you guys think I'm actually going fucking crazy and I'm gonna have like some psychological breakdown and do something insane, like you'll see me in the news and I'm gonna shoot up a school. I don't believe in none of that fucked up shit, so stop bringing that up. People died in that shit. Like, you see, this is what's going on. Like, people are losing sensitivity to other people, and so it's okay when they say stuff like that, but the minute it happens to them, and boy does it deserve to happen to them, like...
Because as we all know, doing a video completely shirtless and having facial reactions where you look batshit crazy totally will not give people the impression that you're crazy. But in all seriousness, you say that you don't believe in school shootings, which is all well and good, and probably something that the vast majority of people don't get behind, so you shouldn't feel the need to state, fine, whatever, but following up by saying that it deserves to happen to the people who are being insensitive about it, because, you know, they are showing concern for your mental health. The reasons I just said is a contradiction, and really fucking creepy.
Some of these people, man, like, let me explain what happened. So, I attacked Filthy Frank because I was genuinely just fucking pissed about how he was treating the anime community, just making a joke out of this shit. Let's be honest here, a big reason why the Naruto community is so hated is not because of people like me, it's always been hated, alright? Before I even came on YouTube, people were hating on Naruto fans.
Okay, now I'm confused. That Filthy Frank video was not from the day before, as you stated the video you wanted to talk about was. And on top of that, you just said like a minute ago that this wasn't about Filthy Frank. So, what are you actually talking about?
In addition, the way you worded how Naruto was hated before he even appeared on YouTube made you come off as condescending. Here's a bit of a pro tip. The world doesn't revolve around you, and you weren't the first person on the internet to review anime, so the fact that haters existed before you in no way proves your argument.
And as somebody who loves this series so much, it is my duty and responsibility to eliminate anybody who just makes this fucking a shitty community for us. Like, we need to be able to express our opinions in the same way that everybody else, and we deserve that right. And if people are just going to automatically just assume the worst in us, it's not going to happen.
Once again, you're going after a parody. Also, the way in which case that you said it was your duty to go after anyone who is attacking the anime community, it's like, no, honey, you need to go to bed. Because essentially put, you wanted to express your opinions, but then you can't let someone who doesn't like Naruto can't express theirs. Gotta love that 10 out of 10 logic, baby!
Wait, you pointed out that he was going after parodic material, right?
Baby? Yes?
Okay, cool. Just need to make a note of that for my final thoughts.
God damn it, Boon. Is it going to be another one of those 20-minute final thoughts?
Maybe.
Hey, wait a minute, get your own material!
But again, I was having a very bad day, so just put that video aside, guys. Let's just forget about the Filthy Frank video. I can't even look at the video no more, because like every time I look at it, I check the comments and people are just going nuts and ballistic at me, like telling me to drink bleach, like Hitler's even commenting, like...
I didn't know Hitler came back from the dead.
How can we forget about the Filthy Frank video if you keep fucking talking about it? Seriously, you went on and off and back on the same topic so many times. You remind me of something flips back and forth a lot. Holy shit, you're so bad that you broke my metaphor.
In addition to everything that has been said, this just further proves you need to think out what you're going to do before you rant to rave on a topic.
Waffle! Was waffle.
Fuck all that shit. But then I uploaded the video about Obama and how he said y'all anime are gay, and it's just like, I don't understand why a lot of you guys believe that video. It was actually a troll video from the start.
Hey, remember when I said that the thing that was going to bite you in the ass would later continue biting you in the ass? You have a contradiction hanging off your right butt cheek. I suggest getting some flea powder and industrial strength tweezers.
So Filthy Frank deserves to be taken off of YouTube for making fun of anime fans. Okay. Then why use the same type of humor targeted towards Barack Obama in your own video?
Plus, later on you say how you handle stuff on the internet through trolling, but one can argue that doing that only made your hole deeper. Never mind the fact that people didn't necessarily get mad at the video because they believed it, but that they potentially found it offensive?
Believe it! Actually don't. No. Don't do it. No.
Why did I make that video? I'm the type of person when I do something, you know, fucked up or whatever, and maybe I get down on myself too hard or I just get depressed, I start wanting to troll. And the reason I start wanting to troll is simply because it's my way of trying to cope with things.
Couldn't one argue that you should make a separate account to troll instead? I mean, there's wanting to express your horizons on adding content onto your channel, but trolling can be a different thing since some people cannot tell us which videos you trolling and which videos you actually talking about serious stuff.
Anime! My way of coping is different. I just like want to entertain people and just start trolling and just start like making people laugh.
You wanted to make people laugh, even though with the Obama video, you came up as rather serious with your tone of voice, like you're trying to be a news reporter.
Add the, I assume, Photoshop tweets and imagery that really just seems like it's there to fill up space while you're talking, and it barely comes across as a troll video, even when I know it's a troll video. Look, I'm not saying that doing things for humorous intent is bad, saving that in my final thoughts folder, by the way, but your execution was mediocre at best and piss poor at worst.
Anime! And then people just, everybody was like, they thought I was serious, right? So because they thought I was serious, I thought I would go along with it for a little bit, and that was my mistake.
So, basically, you actually admitted to the fact that you actually misinformed people about how Obama called anime fans gay. You know, you could have avoided the whole drama and just admitted from the get-go.
To add to what MTR said, one could look at the title of the Obama video and say it was nothing more than clickbait. That way you get more views on your channel.
You know what the funny thing about that is? Almost all your videos are titled that way. Just saying.
Oh my fucking god! Anime!
I thought Obama, like, getting shot at in Japan because he said anime people were gay would be funny as fuck. But people just thought otherwise, and I'm sorry I offended anybody with that video. That was not the goal, and I just wanted to let you know that's what I do. I cope with things by trolling, by just, you know, having a good time, by laughing, by trying to, you know, get people's attention and shit like that.
You know what's funny? Based on the amount of time you've been talking about the Obama video compared to anything else, and the fact that you made it sound like this was the primary reason you wanted to speak so candidly, your video title is incredibly misleading, to the point where you may as well have named the video Click Me Gone Sexual 18 Plus XOXOXOXOX.
Quit making fun of my own videos, Boon.
Wait, did you seriously make a video that title?
No, of course not. Do I look like some kind of clickbaity shitlord to you?
Maybe.
I will end you.
May was my friend back in high school.
It's just my love for anime, my love for Naruto specifically as a series is the greatest series of all time.
Bitch, do you even try gun?
Goofy Movie was my favorite anime.
I think we should go into our final thoughts before we completely lose our minds. To start, this video really didn't do you any favors of calming the situation down with your tone of voice. The issue is not that you don't like Filthy Frank. It's fine if you don't like his content. No, the issue is how you wanted Filthy Frank to be removed on YouTube and compared what he does to people who did worse crap made it seem like you can't take a joke. Especially if it involves anime, specifically Naruto. The next time you do a video surrounding anime, if you're getting pissed at something that was meant to be a joke, just take a step back and try to calm down. I said it before and I'll say it again. Making a video where you're emotionally driven is a really bad idea. It will only hurt your reputation.